Most people in life give up, they don't show up. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Today, let's talk about what sets apart those that achieve great things versus those who consistently struggle in life and fail to get ahead. Today's chat's going to be pretty obvious, but I would assume that most people that are listening to this probably aren't pushing themselves to 100% or aren't getting 100% out of themselves. So I think that it's really, really important to ask yourself the question, am I doing the best that I can with what I have? And what do I need to really get the results that I want in life? And so let's talk about it. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michael Mojo, founder of Mojo Human Performance Institute, where we focus on business, mindset, and lifestyle optimization for driven mofos. The reason why I do these episodes is that most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them. So first of all, one of the biggest things that stop most people from achieving great things in life is that, first of all, they don't acknowledge their visions. Now, I talk a lot about this at our Business Growth Odyssey event and also at our Thrive Time event. And the reason why I do it is because you will consistently have visions that pop up in your own mind around the lifestyle you want, around what you're trying to achieve in life. But what happens is that most people give up, they don't show up. And that's going to be one of the things that I say a lot in this episode, is that most people just give up, they don't show up. You know, I hear it every week. Oh, but you don't understand. It's my husband doesn't understand, or my wife doesn't understand, or but you don't understand, Michael, I have kids, or but my boss doesn't understand, or whatever. You know, it's the economy. Well, that's cool. You can keep making those excuses. You can keep justifying it. But those visions are going to keep popping up in your head. You know what you're capable of because every one of us has different visions. Okay, mine is to build a global empire in human optimization. So that has to do with things like our Mojo Human Performance Institute and the courses that we run, the programs that I'm launching, the books that I'm writing, that's part of it. Then we've also got the health clinics and the health optimization clinics and so on. And so my visions keep popping up in my head bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more that I work towards them, the bigger they keep getting. Now, for most people, they don't have that same goal or they don't have that same vision. You'll have your own vision. Now, it might be traveling the world with your family. It might be making sure that you're completely financially independent by the age of 50, let's say. But most people have these visions, they just choose not to acknowledge them because they're scared. They're afraid that if they acknowledge those visions, they could have the possibility or the potential of failing. But the question that I have is, would you rather fail and absolutely crush it and be in the top 1% of life, or the people that are living at the moment, or would you rather give up on those visions and just fit into the mediocrity that happens within our society of other people that have given up on their dreams and goals? The reason why the newspaper or the news or the media make so much money is because they know that if they can sell drama to the masses, that it keeps them engaged in something. The reason why sport is so big is because it stops people for a couple of hours focusing on their own life and their own goals. Now, I'm not against sport and I'm not against the media, but what I'm saying is that most people look for ways of distracting themselves in life because they are so beaten down, because they've consistently given up on their goals and their dreams. You know, I hear it every week, Michael. I would love to do it, but, I just don't have the money. Well, you don't have the money because you keep giving up on things. You don't push through things. You don't understand that if you don't play a big game, you're always going to struggle financially. Now, most people are always going to struggle financially. The best that they're ever going to do is retirement, and retirement sucks because when they retire, they're going to rely on superannuation or a pension fund, and it's going to give them absolute fucking peanuts. And the majority of our society has been sold one of the biggest lies in human history. And that is that, number one, your house is an asset. And so you're going to pay off your home by the time you retire. Then you're going to have to sell the fucking thing in order to get the cash out of it so that then you can survive. And that's what you're going to do, is you're going to survive. Superannuation isn't enough to keep most people living a great lifestyle. But this is why our society is sold, especially in the westernized world. And so because of that, most people are going to struggle. They are going to fail. Okay. Now, I would rather fail living an amazing life than fail living a crappy one. So most people, number one, have to acknowledge their visions. Number two, they've got to stop giving up. They have to stop giving up on the things that are important to them. Now, if it's important to be financially independent, then you've got to stop giving up on that. If your goal is to grow your business, then you have to stop giving up on that. And I see it every week, business owners who commit to growth. They commit to coming to our events, and then 2 weeks later they pull out. They're like, oh man, but you don't understand. Well, I do understand. I understand that you're on a fast track to the bottom because you're never going to get ahead. You're never going to get ahead with the skills that you have. Okay, you have to learn, and you've got to learn fast. And if you're not adaptable, if you're not resilient, if you can't figure shit out really, really quickly on your feet, and you're giving up because you can't afford to pay a small amount of money to come to an event or something like that, you're essentially fucked. You're screwed, right? And this is just most people. We have been conditioned to be average and mediocre. So, number one, you've got to stop giving up. Number two is that you also have to understand that most people won't understand. And so, if you're not surrounding yourself with great people who are going to hold you to a higher standard and are going to hold you to being more accountable to your own goals and your own dreams, then you're probably surrounding yourself with people that are pulling you back and pulling you down. Now, I had this conversation with someone this week, and they said to me, Michael, most people around me don't understand. And I said, they're not supposed to, right? The majority of society are just trying to fit in, and they're trying to fit into average. They look up to great people. So they look up to great athletes. They look up to people who achieve a lot, whether it's a great household, whether it's a great family, whether it's intelligent people. They look up to those people. They're consistently searching on social media for those types of people. Yet at the same time, when they're surrounded by those people, it makes them feel insecure. And when they feel insecure, the majority of people will bring you down, and they'll bring you down with their worries, their fears, and their concerns. Well, what about the economy? What about jobs? What about your retirement fund? Okay, what about university? They tell their kids all the time, go to university. I've had this conversation with a couple of people this week as well. I just want my kids to go to university. Why? It's a scam. It's a ripoff. Unless they're going to be a neurosurgeon, maybe an engineer or something like that, where they actually need a university degree, the majority of degrees are a scam. There is a proportion of people who don't finish their degrees. Number one, they're going to get left with a HECS debt when they realize that the thing that they thought they wanted to do isn't the thing. Then there's a larger majority of people who go out to the workforce, and within 5 to 10 years, they realize that the job that they're in isn't the job that they want to do. So they might have a marketing degree. They might have a degree in business or commerce, and they hate it. They hate it, so they leave. They still have to pay that HECS debt, so they just wasted $40,000, $60,000, $70,000 to figure out that they don't want to do something. Okay, now by that time, hopefully they haven't bought a house. And hopefully by that time, they haven't had kids. And hopefully by that time, their kids haven't gone to school. Because if they have, they're probably going to be absolutely torn in their own mind between leaving their career and doing something that they enjoy, or trying to figure it out, which most people do that. They just flounder through life, their whole life trying to figure it out. Then they get to that position, they go, well, shit, what am I supposed to do? I don't really know, but I want to leave my career and I want to go and find something that I want to do. But I have kids. I've got a mortgage. I've got a relationship. So now I'm stuck. Most people get stuck in that predicament. Why? Because they followed the rules of the mediocre. They followed the rules of the average. They followed the rules of other people around them who aren't living a great life. If I listen to my family, it was do really well at school so you can go to university so that you can get a good job. No one in my family told me that I could become an entrepreneur and be a millionaire by my early 30s. No one told me that. No one told me I could do it. School never told me that I could do that. Now, if it wasn't for me being shit at school and getting kicked out, I probably would have never thought that that was possible. Okay, because something inside of me burnt brighter than the voices around me telling me what I had to do. And yes, it was tough. It was tough going and telling my mum that I had left my job as a diesel fitter or a diesel mechanic. She cried. Michael, what are you going to do with your life? If you just stick at it for 10 years, you'll be set. When I had to tell her, if I stuck at that thing for 10 years, the job that I hated, if I stuck at it, I probably would be dead by then. Because I would have killed myself. Okay, that was a tough conversation. But people in society are so hell-bent on fitting in with average fucking people that aren't doing anything in their life. And that's what causes them to be trapped. And then every morning they wake up and have to look at themselves in the mirror and look at themselves and go, you piece of shit, you're giving up on yourself. And then they wonder why they're depressed. They wonder why they have low energy. They wonder why they can't do the things that they want to do. Why? Because they keep beating themselves up because they look in the mirror and see the person that gave up on them. It's not fair. It's not fair on someone who has a life. That life is slowly wilting away. Every day I'm a day closer to dying. I don't know when I'm going to die. Okay, but what I do know is that I'm getting closer every day. And so every day I want to squeeze the juice out of my life. And I have days where I feel like shit. I have days where I look in the mirror and I go, you piece of shit. And I give up on myself. But then the next day I've got to try and swing it back around. And I'm lucky that I have the mindset tools that I have because I can turn that around in under 24 hours. For a lot of people, they're going to be stuck in that mindset for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, where they have a couple of good days and then they have a whole bunch of shitty weeks and shitty months and then shitty years. Every year on New Year's, I see people on my social media write, thank God that year's gone. Well, you're going to write the same shit again next year. You just don't even realize it yet because nothing's going to change because you don't change. You're not committed to changing. Okay, the same thing that people set these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to lose weight this year. This year's the year. You reckon? What was the difference between the last 15 years that you keep saying it? Nothing changes. Why don't they change? Why? Because they're scared. They're scared that they won't fit in with the averages, that their parents will reject them, that their friends will reject them. Okay, they're afraid that if they can't figure it out, they're going to be seen as dumb. But that's so stupid, because if you're not the dumbest person in your tribe of people that you're hanging out with, then you're not learning, you're not progressing, you're not growing. You want to hang out with people that are smarter than you. You want to hang out with people who question you, who hold you accountable, who push you to a greater level. Not people who are going to judge you in a way where if you're achieving, they're going to come out and go, oh, look at him now, he's a rich prick. Well, fuck them. They don't deserve your friendship. They don't deserve to be around you. Okay, and you'll build a new tribe. Okay, we attract people that are like-minded. Okay, not based on the law of attraction, but we tend to hang out with people who suit our values. If you have a high value on wealth creation, you'll probably be hanging out with people who like to make money. If you have a high value on family, you'll probably hang out with people who enjoy hanging out with their family. If you enjoy health, you probably hang out with people who enjoy health. It's because we attract people within our values. But if you have a value of living a great life, getting ahead financially, having amazing relationships and amazing friendships and traveling the world, then maybe check in with yourself and figure out, or ask yourself the question, are these my tribe? Because maybe you're holding yourself back because you think that you need to hang out with old friendships. I see it on social media, kids that I went to school with, or guys and girls that I went to school with, still hanging out with the same people. Nothing's changed. They're the same. There's nothing wrong with that, providing they're all growing, but most of them aren't. Some of them are. Some of them are probably listening to this podcast now, and thank you. Now, I know that for a lot of you out there, this might be quite confronting, this episode, but I hope that it is. I hope that it scares you enough to do something different, to commit to your own growth, commit to being better, commit to not following the patterns of the average, all the bullshit that we've been convinced. Okay, in Australia, we are lied to all the time about life. Lied to our face by our parents, by our friends, by the government, by society. Now, I don't want this to turn into another conspiracy theory, but what I do know is this. We're told that the greatest investment we'll ever make is our home that we live in. Now imagine this, you work for 40 years or 30 years, paying down your home, and now you've got $500,000 wrapped up in your house. And then when you retire, you have to sell that house in order to downsize because you can't afford to live. That's the great Australian dream that the banks tell us, and the government. Why? Because the banks make money off of you. They market to you, you and I. They tell us the greatest asset we'll ever have is our home. If your greatest asset is your home and that is your goal, you're on the fast track to being broke. The greatest asset that you should ever have is your time. The second greatest asset you ever should have is your mind, because your mind and your time are two of the greatest things that will allow you to get ahead. I spent $1 million on study before I made my first $1 million. And since then, I've never made less than $1 million in a 12-month period. And everyone told me, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your money. Why? Because they're average. Because they just do what everybody else does. They think that the shit that I sell is a scam. I get it all the time. You're a scammer, you just rip people off. Shut up. You spent $60,000 on a university degree and you're trapped in a job that you hate and you can't even afford to go away on a holiday for 4 weeks. Yeah, I'm the scammer. The people that tell you that you can't do great things in life, they're the ones who are scamming you. So be very, very careful of the stupidity of our society. Okay, there's something that Sigmund Freud called the id, if you read his work. Now, he's a famous psychiatrist. Most people live in their id, which makes them idiotic. They do things without thinking. They don't think through things. They just react to everybody else around them. They run off of their emotions. That's not a great place to live. I hope this episode is a kick in the pants that some of you need. I know not everyone's going to agree with this. Some of you will probably listen to this and go, this guy's a prick, and never come back. I get it. That's cool. But I hope one day you wake up and realize that this was the thing that you needed. I really hope that for people out there who are inspired to do something great and have visions of a life of financial independence, or being a great parent, or being able to travel the world, or being able to live some form of extraordinary life, having great health, not falling into the obesity epidemic that we're in, not falling into the poverty epidemic that we're in. Even in westernized countries, there's a poverty epidemic. Most people are going to retire broke. And the thing is that the governments are trying to figure it out. They make us put money away into superannuation if you're an employee. Why? Because they know that most employees can't manage their money. So they make you put money away every week so it doesn't strain the pension system. But unfortunately, here's what's going to happen. We've got the baby boomers. Everyone knows this, that the baby boomers are all starting to retire and they're all starting to spend their money. After that, the next generation is essentially screwed because there's not a lot of money left unless they pass it down to the next generation. So you better hope that for most people listening to this, you better hope your parents leave you enough money and that you're smart enough and have learned enough in order to take that money and do something great with it. Because if not, you may be retiring broke. Okay? And your parents may have given you a gift that you just lost. This really hurts to say, but look, I hope from this episode, you start to believe in you. You start to believe that you're better than the way that you're living. You start to believe that you can do the things that you can do and not accept mediocrity and not accept the shitty voices around you, including the ones inside your own head. If you're playing safe and you're playing life to be comfortable, you're already lost. I've been running an event for the last 2 days. And in that event, I said, your emotions should never, 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 never be a benchmark in life. So when people say, I just want to be happy, go take meth. Methamphetamines will make you feel great in the moment. Now, by the way, I'm not saying that you should do that. That's a dumb idea. It's fucking stupid. But that will make you happy. But it only lasts a moment. It doesn't last long, and then it goes away, and then you'll feel like shit. And then when you feel like shit, you'll crave happiness again. And so you'll keep being on this chase of something outside of yourself to make you feel good about life. Happiness is a shitty benchmark in life. People who want to be happy overeat, they overdrink, they overconsume, they take drugs. Why? Because it's a shitty benchmark for life. Comfort. Comfort is one of the most shittiest benchmarks in life, and westernized society is wrapped up in the idea of being comfortable. Here's the truth. If you're comfortable, you are probably going to live a very uncomfortable life. If you are out there being uncomfortable, pushing yourself for a greater mission, you're probably extremely fulfilled, but also you wake up every day and put yourself in uncomfortable situations in order to live a comfortable life. You can't have one without the other. This is what most people don't understand about emotions. They're cyclical. They go around in cycles. So most of the people who are chasing happiness are extremely unhappy. Those who want to live a comfortable life normally do so at the expense of their comfort, and so therefore they live an uncomfortable life. Imagine being one of those people who wake up every day and their common goal is to just get up and watch TV all day. Now, when you do that, that's okay. I get it. But at the same time, you are going to live an extremely uncomfortable life. You're going to struggle financially. Your health is probably going to suffer. Mentally and emotionally, you're probably going to feel like shit. Your friendships around you probably aren't going to excel and challenge you. That's not a great life. Things in nature grow or they die. You're not growing. Now, if you're one of those people who are listening to this, and I assume you're listening to my podcast because you want growth, you want to push yourself, you want to be surrounded by a bunch of people who get it. And I get it. I get it. It's tough. It's tough to get up in the morning and have big goals and big dreams. It's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. But at the same time, that gives you drive. It gives you ambition. It gives you enthusiasm. It gives you the ability to back yourself to do something. It builds confidence. It builds courage. It builds character. And so if you're out there pushing yourself every day, getting uncomfortable and stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing things that you're not sure about, but you're extremely focused on the vision and the mission and the purpose that you have, which for a lot of people out there, I highly recommend coming and doing my Thrive Time event to get on top of that shit. We've had people who are, some of the greatest achievers on the planet, from rich listers to professional athletes, come and do that event. And from people who have hit rock bottom, who have just got out of jail. And creating your success map in life that we teach at Thrive Time, and teaching you the POP process that I go through and the 3 pillars to succeed in life. When you go through that, you'll have a map for your life where you wake up every morning juiced, where you want to go, where you want to go out there and get it. But please remember, you can't achieve if you keep giving up. And there are just too many people out there who keep giving up on life. They keep giving up on themselves. They keep giving up on the things that are important to them. And that's going to be the thing that stops them from achieving greatness in life. So just remember, show up, don't give up. If you keep giving up and you stop showing up, you are destined for average, for mediocre, and those things suck. Especially in a country where we have the ability to be great. And there are a lot of people who are listening to this in the westernized world who are out there trying to achieve more and do more. Just remember, keep showing up every day. Show up, show up. Every day is not going to be great. I wake up and I'm tired some days. That's cool. But I know that I'm running about 10% capacity. I want to get more out of myself than what I normally do on a day where I feel like that. I compare that day to that day, not that day to my best day, because that makes you feel like shit. Okay, I get up and I still push it. Now that might mean that I need to have a nap in the middle of the day. It might mean that I finish work early. And when I say early, that might be 5 or 6 o'clock at night. I'll just keep pushing. Why? Because I've got a reason to push. And that's because of my success map that I've created within my own life. And I know the standard that I want to live at. Only you know your own standard. And the question is, are you living up to your own standard? Or do you keep giving up? Keep showing up. All right, Driven Mofos, if you haven't grabbed your tickets for my upcoming Thrive Time event, please jump across to www.themojomaster.com.au. Go and check it out. I guarantee that that event will change your life. Where people flying from interstate and overseas coming to that event. It is in Adelaide, Australia, but I guarantee it will change your life. There is nothing like it on this planet. There is nothing like it that I've come across yet. And it will be the thing that fast tracks you and puts you on track. So if you haven't grabbed your tickets yet, I guarantee it'll change your life. We give a money back guarantee on it because I know that it works. So make sure you grab your tickets. Also, if you haven't jumped across to our No BS Business Hacks group on Facebook, It's absolutely free. Go to Facebook, type in No BS Business Hacks. The group will come up. Join it, jump in there. There's a whole bunch of free information, free resources that I talk about in there to help business owners consistently grow their business, whether they're in startup stage, which is under $1 million, to scale, which is in between $1 to $10 million in our model. So there's plenty of information in there to help you to keep growing your business and scaling your business. So go check it out. Driven Mofos, I look forward to you joining me once again back here on another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Hopefully this was the butt kicking that you needed to have an absolute cracking day and to keep the gas on yourself to achieve more and to live up to your own standards. Anyway, Driven Mofos, have a great day. I look forward to seeing you at Thrive Time or in our No BS Business Hacks group. Take care. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.